Hello, greetings and welcome. All right, so our next video on this process of muscle tendon changing, we went from the fundamental idea of muscle tendon changing to how to bring it into your meditation posture. Then we looked at how the four bases of supernatural power relate to this. Good coffee. And our next phase is how can we take this further? Now, to take this further, you have this muscle tendon change process and you're radiating energy, you're identifying with the energy, you're increasing it. How can you store that energy? So there are many methods of amplification and storage. Four bases of power give you the psychological tools to do that, but now we want to make an energy memory of being powerful, being inside of our power, having a feeling of, yeah, I can do this. And this accumulates several things. It accumulates a type of faith. Now, a type of faith is what allows your subconscious to do things. The group consciousness of society says, oh, you're allowed to have gut instincts, you're allowed to feel, you're allowed to have this intuition, but you're not allowed to see or hear. So we have all these boundaries placed around us by the group consciousness. And these boundaries in the group consciousness form, they slow you down, they slow your progress down. So what we want to start doing is first, define the boundaries so we can get rid of them. Second, look at where does this take us to, and all this increased energy, this increased power, how do we create an energy memory, accumulate a type of faith within it so that we can access this energy, we can store this energy at any time and awaken it and use it for practical applications, whether it be healing, teaching, building a house, whatever it is, whatever your practical function is. You want to put energy into what you're doing. You want to put mindfulness. You want to put concentration. You want to put love into whatever aspect of your life, and that takes energy, it takes power. So first, we have the process of looking at your belief structures. What do you believe you can and can't do? What do you truly believe your possibilities are? Some people have such resistance towards their own well-being that they believe they're meant to be unhealthy. They believe they're meant to be in poverty. They believe they can't be intuitive. They have all these weird beliefs. You have to identify these. So there's a process called the black and white mirror. You write down your positives, you write down your negatives, and you look at all these characteristics within you. You start defining your personality. And as part of this process, you define what you believe. And this is important because as you start accumulating energy, energy is going to manifest and amplify those beliefs. It's going to amplify personality traits within you. It's going to bring your personality up to the surface, and if you have any negatives, they're going to get stronger. If you have any positives, they're going to get stronger. So having insight into you is important before you start accumulating and storing large amounts of power. Now, as you start accumulating power and you start putting it into your bones and your center of gravity and storing it in a range of different ways, we want that power to be stored as a reflection of your ability to conduct power. You have a big battery, but you can't put small wires on a big battery. You need heavy cables on that battery so to conduct the power of the battery. Now, your muscles and tendons have a fascial web. Every organ has fascia wrapped around it. Every cell has fascia wrapped around it. This fascia is the life force conductor. It is the electrical cables that transmit. So we first want to strengthen these up. We do this through any form of balance training. Whatever strengthens your balance is going to thicken your fascia, because balance and stability is an aspect of fascia. Those fine muscles and fine stabilizers are tuning and building the elasticity of your body. The second thing are body weight exercises, hanging on a bar, you know, doing calisthenics where you're doing push-ups, handstands, walking on your hands, all these types of balance strength exercises that are half on balance, half on strength, and they connect. This builds fascia. All these types of exercises are very practical, because if you need to pick up a washing machine, you can move it from here, put it over there, and transition in a balanced way, so that you're not going from weak to strong to weak to strong and tear something in your body. You're able to move things around comfortably. So this type of training, any calisthenic type of balance strength training, you'll find is going to build fascia very, very quickly. One of the fastest ways is to do rebounding force. So the basic Farsian exercises, where a person drops their body weight and stretches through you onto your feet. You stretch the fascia open, take the load on the fascia, feel the feeling of life force, extend the mind, extend the joints, and train that elastic bounce in your body. I've got some videos floating around on YouTube on my Vimeo channel on how to do that. That's the fastest way to build your fascia. Because if a 100 kilo person drops their weight through your body into your feet, your body has to transfer 100 kilos through it and absorb it and rebound it. Now, force is mass times acceleration. It's that 100 kilos, and your partner accelerates the speed of that transfer of force. So as it accelerates, more of that, the mass times acceleration generates more force. So if your partner puts their body weight through at a very high speed and you have to drop and stretch an issue, you're going to find that your fascia is going to get stressed in such a way that it forces it to grow at a peak accelerated growth rate. And this is very valuable for you. Okay, so from there we have started doing exercises, and this takes about 3 years. Realistically, it takes 3 years to build a really strong body. Don't be afraid of weights. There's nothing wrong with weights. What's wrong with it's the method. You don't want to contract your muscles. You want to transfer any load from a weight onto the joint, stretch the muscle, and stretch the fascia. So if I want to do a bicep curl, I'm stretching my body. So I'm using my toes, my feet, my calves, my quads, my whole body stretching to move that. Totally different to contract the muscle. We don't want to contract muscles. We're not trying to build muscle, we're trying to build elastic conductivity and connectivity through the body. Once we've gone from that phase, now your body is able to conduct internal energy and mechanical forces very efficiently. You've reduced the risk of injury to your body by balancing all the strength of the muscles across the major shoulder lines and throughout the back and so forth. And your lower back is strengthened up from all the balance exercises. Then from there we go, okay, now how do we store energy? How do we put this power inside the body? Well, it's already happening. While you're building the fascial web and activating it, you're storing an energy memory because you're relaxing and tuning the fascia in every one of those exercises. As you relax load from muscle to fascia and you stretch everything out as you're doing those exercises, you're generating energy memory inside of every cell, every elastic part of your body. Every particle in your body knows and has consciousness of how it wants to elastically move energy in and out of the body. So when we're talking about rebounding force and bouncing a person, you receive the force, you absorb it into the fascia, and then you rebound the force and send it out of the fascia with the feeling of life force. So that's already happening. Now we want to release time. Now why do we want to do this? Why do we want to slow everything down and release time? Because there's a rate of transformation between the idea of Jin, vitality, and Qi, astral body, astral force. This rate of transformation has a time lag, and that's why when you see people do a Tai Chi form, that's why it looks so slow. That's why when a person does Tai Chi, they're relaxing, opening joints, hanging the muscles, going to the feeling, and the feeling's moving the body. So there's fusion of mind, Qi, and body. This fusion of the three bodies allows you to store energy in your astral memory. It allows you to store energy in your astral body. Now, any skill that you do is a type of storage of information, energy, body memory, muscle memory in your astral body. So when they say it takes 10,000 hours to master something, it's that 10,000 hours to store the memory and refine the mind, feeling, body connection to perform the skill. So whatever skill you're trying to master, 10,000 hours, it's sort of like the first 9,000 is figuring out how to do it really well and the last 1,000's doing it perfectly. So if you get something in your mind clearly, you clearly understand what you're doing, the body mechanics, the feeling mechanics, the mind mechanics, and you bring that mental idea of perfection into the feeling, and then you enliven that with the feeling of energy, releasing time, doing everything very, very, very slowly. If someone's feeding you with rebounding force, they feed in slow motion, and you relax and release time slowly into that cycle, then the energy stores as a behavior in your field of consciousness much more quickly. And you can master a skill in 1,000 hours instead of 10,000 hours. It's much quicker. So how do we really release time and store energy? There's an exercise called the 4-cycle breath, where you take the feeling of energy, you breathe the life force in, you tune the fascia, you have this magnetic fluid, you breathe in, you pause, you enter the stillness. Now once you're inside that stillness, you release time, you go into a quiet place. So there's no breath in, there's no breath out, your mind is quiet, your body feels quiet, and there's a space underlying the experience which is released of time. And then as you breathe out, you take that release of time, you just slow everything down. You breathe out long, deep, you tune the breath, this long, deep outward breath. You get to the end of the out breath, you go to that still place where it's timeless, and then you breathe the stillness in with the vital energy. As it slows down, it moves from Jin to Chi, it moves into the astral. Very, very, very slowly, long, deep in-breath, get to the end of the in-breath, recalibrate again. How long you stay at the end of each breath to recalibrate is fully up to you. But there's 4 cycles. Breathe in, tune to emptiness, stillness, release time. Breathe out, tune, emptiness, stillness, release time. And you carry that stillness through the in-breath and the out-breath to thicken the energy. The energy becomes slow and thick. From there, you put it into your Tai Chi form. You put it into your Qigong exercise. You put it into lifting a weight. You put it into whatever you want. Whatever calisthenic exercise, whatever sport you do, you just need to be able to find a way to do it very slowly. And what this does is it stores the energy in the cells, in the fascia, in the tendons, in the bones, and naturally. Whatever movement you do and whatever muscles, tendons, ligaments you use, that is where the energy will be stored. But remember, you've already done the strength training. You've already got a powerful tendons, ligaments, body from all your fascial activation training exercise, all your balance training exercise, all your stabilizers training. And this will charge energy into that conductive pathway. So you don't need to store energy in your center of gravity in the dantian. You don't need to put it anywhere other than where it's being used. So the actual thickening of the fascia stores energy in and of itself because that's where it needs to be used. And you'll find that stressing something as it's making it stronger, if you're doing this astral breathing, it will store large amounts of energy inside of what is being strengthened. So by storing energy in this way, inside your body activity, it's safe. You're not going to overheat. You're not going to be getting any side effects. You're not going to be getting agitated or irritable from too much energy, because your body is harmoniously taking what's needed and storing it. Now, there is many more methods of storing, and we want to investigate as many of them as we can. So you get the energy itself storing, and you get faith, your ability to perform a self-conscious habit accumulates underneath, so that you're able to do things without intending to do them. If they say you have a technique, some push on your shoulder, you yield, you remove, and then you bounce them. And then someone touches, and then you just do a small yield, a micro movement instead of a macro. You cut underneath and the energy bounces them without you intending. You go, oh, what happened? The energy that you stored there has information and tension stored in it, and it did it for you, because that's what it does. You've repeated it enough to generate an unconscious action, and that unconscious action bounced the person, uprooted them, or did whatever you taught it to do. Whether it's an expression of art, an expression of music, an expression of gathering ideas for science, whatever those expressions are, you teach those expressions to unconsciously express themselves in your environment. And this is how we take the muscle and tendon changing exercises, we develop them through the posture, through the 4 bases of power, through really looking at yourself and know thyself, into fascia training, strengthening, activating more fascia, and then releasing time and storing energy inside of that facial web, inside of your bones, inside of what you are doing. I hope this helps in your internal journey, and thank you for your time. See you on the next video.